Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and we got another First Class guest up in the building today. But before we continue, I want to remind everybody that we are live in Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to Marvy on the glass. Hope everybody's doing well. Before I introduce my guest, I want to remind everybody that to check out, first of all, like and subscribe right now on the channel as you're watching it right now as you speak. And also, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, whatever the case may be, just hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the show. Also, shout out to Rick H of the Rick H Show, formerly of the Rick H Show, now with the 2 a.m. crew, which I am now a part of. It's a non-stop New York sports talk show. Tune in every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. to see me and Rick just talk about New York sports. It's going to be a very interesting time now with football season coming through. Baseball season is still going, and basketball is going to come here before you know it. And if you want to delve into a little hockey, we will. And I'm brushing up on my wrestling, so don't worry, I'm gonna get there though. And also shout out to Brightside Film Festival in Jersey City for having a great event. Shout out to Love Your Face Films for Betty, and also Our Keys, which is a film that I was also a part of. You can only hear me, but you can't see me, but you can hear me, has now been accepted into several film festivals. I'll just put everything in the description and also on my social media, so be sure to check that out. Shout out to everybody at Love Your Face Films for the opportunity, and stay tuned for more other projects. And I think that's about it. And ladies and gentlemen, yeah, it's now time to get into our guest. I've been hearing through the grapevine that this person has been wanting to be on my show for quite some time, but then afterwards I had to go ahead and reach out to the source to see if it's legit, because you know how it is sometimes, you hear this, that, and you hear that, but I'm the type of guy that always wants to hear from the source, and I was very flattered that he was interested in coming on my show. Had to make sure he was first class. He checked out, and without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mach City is in the building. What is going on, Mach City?
What's going on, Jason? How you doing?
I'm good, man. So actually, before we continue, why don't you tell me a little bit more about this flavorless beverage that you got, Harry? Because I'm actually drinking the ginger ale flavor, and it's actually kind of fire.
That's my collaboration, Mach City Ginger. I got a partner, shout outs to Kenny, out of Philly. We originally were going to collaborate on other things. He has his weed brand as well, and he wanted to collab on something with that. But the idea of a beverage, an infused beverage, came out. And then I said, how about we do something better? How about we just do a regular beverage so that everybody can try it, the kids.
I was about to say, is this infused? No. I'll be in trouble if it's infused, man. I'll have a good time, but I'll be in trouble.
Not yet. We're getting into that. But,
okay.
I said, let's do regular soda so our kids can have it, older people can have it, and you don't gotta have the hassles of getting licenses to have it, sell
That's a big
THC
fact.
product. You can get it in a bodega, smoke shop. That's the goal. To put it everywhere, and it's easier that way than.
Well, I like that. I like the positivity behind it, and it's also it's good as far as marketing because you're appealing to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I me personally, I don't know anybody that doesn't like soda, and I'm also a person that is into supporting small businesses, and not so much the big conglomerates and everything, unless they want to sponsor my show, mind you. But but other than that, I'm always appreciative of people that are trying to take the next step in their careers and do something for the community and do something in a positive light. And like I said, supporting small business is always going to be a big thing for me personally.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer for me. I dibbled and dabbled in the streets for a while, and this is just something a lot of people could get behind,
Yeah, absolutely.
And ain't got to worry about nobody trying to scam me or rob me because I'm selling sodas, So you ain't got to be looking over your shoulders. So
sounds like a Vietnam flashback, also.
Yeah. So yeah, we got the sodas in a few stores, in Clifton, Passaic, Paterson, DJ Zelly. Everybody knows DJ.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's like. It gets the most traffic there because they sell a lot of food. So,
DJ's Deli's the spot, for sure. And I'm not even a Patersonian myself, but even I know the reputation of DJ Deli.
Yeah, that was the first, my guy Jeezy, shout out to Jeezy. That was the first placement we got. So, it gets a lot of traffic in there, man.
Well, congratulations on it, man. And be sure to check that out. Real quick, we can plug it before we get into, your spiel and everything. you already kind of said the places that they can purchase at, but maybe like a website or something online where people can purchase as well.
Well, right now on my Instagram page, you can see the locations we have it at, and I have a page for the flavors beverages. You can go to that page as well, and you'll see all the locations. There's some in Philly too, because my partner is out in Philly.
Okay.
He also has flavors that we don't have out here. So when the time is right, I'll start bringing new flavors. I got 4 flavors now in Paterson. So
Now, the name Flavors Beverages is pretty self-explanatory, but is there any other way, elaboration as to why it's called that?
well, like I said, he has his own weed brand, and it's called Flavors Farms.
Got you.
And when he wanted to collab, originally it was like he wanted to give me my own strain. And I said, let's take a back seat on that because that takes a lot of time. And I didn't want my name to be attached. It had to be right if my name was attached to it.
I appreciate the fact that you want to keep your name. You gotta look out for your brand. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I said, let's take a back seat on that. And it got to be right. It takes a long time to get it right, So I didn't want it to be like, I didn't want to become a meme. And people clowning, oh, you smoking that fucking Mach City, that shit is garbage, I didn't want that to happen, so I said, let's just wait, man. When the time is right, we can do that.
That's smart. That's smart. I like that. All right, but let's go to the humble beginnings. Let's Tarantino this shit where we just kind of was like at the middle of the movie, and now we got to go back to the beginning. Exactly. Thank you very much, Ron. So you seem to be in Paterson, New Jersey lore, but to my understanding, your beginnings actually started in Newark.
Yeah.
So born and raised there, what was that like up to the point where you moved to Paterson, New Jersey?
I grew up in North Newark. It's pretty rough in North Newark. I went to pretty bad high school, Barringer High School. My pops wasn't around. My mom, single mom, raising 3 kids. I got an older sister, younger brother. I wouldn't say we had it bad, but
Could have been better.
could have been better. And I just made the most of it. I had some of my best and worst times in Newark, crazy car accidents, my house burned down, lost my grandmother, all of that in like a year span. And it was just it's tough out there. It's tough.
By any chance, did any of this stuff mold into the art craft that you apply yourself into now?
Well, yeah, I started when it was probably 8th grade. I started trying to, rhyme. I had two of my friends, 2 of my best friends. We had a group together. It was just us 3, and we used to kind of like battle each other just to, see who was better. And that's how it started. I started, in the battle rap era.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why everybody thinks I'm like intimidating or like aggressive when it's like, they don't think I'm a friendly. I don't always get the friendly vibes, but yeah, growing up out there, I got to see a lot of the artists. I would always see Naughty by Nature. I would see Redman. I would see even people who wasn't from Newark, Busta Rhymes,
Fugees.
Queen Latifah, like Naughty by Nature. They used to do like a free concert out there. I don't know if you guys remember Western Beef. Western Beef was a supermarket.
Yes.
I don't know if there's too many around anymore.
I know what you're talking about, though. Not to cut you off, but as a daytime job as a truck driver, I actually did work at a meat company very briefly, and that was one of the customers that I used to deliver to on a daily basis.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
I'm very familiar with
Western Beef. They over there, they used to throw these Naughty by Nature used to throw these free concerts in that parking lot, in that supermarket parking lot.
Okay.
So everybody used to come out there, and that's where when I was younger, I used to go out there, and, get to see the stars and stuff. They weren't the biggest stars, but they were pretty big, and they were from they were where I was from.
They put themselves on the map. They put the city on the map. As far as I'm concerned, it's like me not being from that area, but I know the history well enough. So
yeah, I used to get in trouble for singing their songs and get punished for singing Onyx and Naughty by Nature and stuff like that.
With your family?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you used to have your Walkman, and you're not noticing that you're saying these words out loud. So, I used to be singing Onyx Land, back the F up, and my mom would be like, what? Take the Walkman away from me and stuff like that, get punished. But
you can curse on here, by the way. So
all right, cool.
Okay. No, but it's the reason I had that reaction is because it takes me back to a time when I was younger in my teenage years, and um, I was really heavy into like the Rough Riders, DMX era. Like
Hmm.
I listened to hip hop before that, but like that's when I really sunk my teeth into it, and that's when I started buying CDs. I was old enough to buy CDs on my own, and then my mother would come in and she would see that the sticker of parental advisory explicit content would
Yeah.
be on there. And then she was intrigued as to what the hell I'm listening. And I'll never forget this. And I've told this story before where she put on a song called The Corruptor's Execution. It was by UGK and E40 and somebody else, I don't remember. But there was a line where Bun B was like, and we get the cash and stash and bash your brains all over the dashboard. When she heard that, her fucking jaw dropped. She couldn't believe I was listening to this. And for quite some time, she forbade me to listen to anything that had the parental advisory sticker on there. So
Yeah, I mean, once you see that, then you know you pretty much know what you're gonna get from the music when you see that little advisory sticker.
yeah, yeah. These kids will never know about
I was
that.
even before the music, I was just into the arts. Like I used to draw.
Mm,
You know, I was really good at that. And once I got out of eighth grade, I tried to apply for arts high school,
okay.
put my portfolio together and everything, but just my grade point average wasn't high enough to be in that school, and that was just a real bummer for me. It like kind of like made me not want to just draw no more.
Yeah, it was very discouraging for you.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I knew I was that talented, but I just didn't have the grades for it. So
Yeah.
it was pretty much over for art. Then that's when I started, getting more into music. Even though I was already
Mm.
a little bit into it, but I started, putting more time to it.
Now, especially in that era, because I think that we come from the same era more or less, but I know a lot of people that wanted to get into music for many different reasons, but they were all for the usual reasons, the glitz, the glamour, the fame, the money, the cars, the women, the whole nine, and so on and so forth. Or they were just trying to get respect,
Hmm.
or they had the actual knack for it, and they didn't care about all that gaudy stuff. You personally, in that era, what was it that about music specifically that appealed to you, where you were like, "This is what I want to do with my life"?
Well, it was I can blame my uncle for this
Okay.
because my youngest uncle, I only have two uncles. My youngest uncle was actually like the baby of my mom's siblings. Um, he would always be when I used to go to my grandmother's house. He would always be like rapping songs around the house,
Mm,
and he was like the one I looked up to. So I started playing basketball because he showed me how to play basketball. He got me my first video game console. I started playing games because he got me it. I started listening to rap because he would be rapping around. He would be even like freestyling around the house, and my family would be like, treating him like he was so corny. But to
mm.
me, he was the coolest guy in the world. He was who I looked up to.
Well, it kind of makes sense because you said that you didn't have a father really growing up, so that was like your father figure right there.
Yeah, I
And
was when my mom said we were going by my grandmother's house. I was always excited because I knew my uncle Alex lived on. He was the youngest, so he still lived with my grandmother. So I always knew I was going to be able to hang out with him. And he had the video games and all. He was the cool one. So I was,
yeah.
he had the stuff I was into. My aunt actually was, she used to sing back in the days, my Aunt Rosa, and do a lot of modeling and pageant shows and stuff.
Mm.
So it was easy to jump in this.
Yeah, it seems like you come from a family that was very embroiled in the arts in some
Yeah,
way, shape, or form. And that's really cool because I mentioned this before plenty of times on my show where there's people like you and then there's people like me where I was the outlier. Like long story short, I come from a family that they don't do any of that stuff. Like they have basic 9 to 5 jobs or they have really good careers, but none of them are involved in the arts at all. And I was the only one that it really pivoted towards that direction. And it was kind of hard for them to understand because they don't know that world.
yeah,
So for you being surrounded around that, along with having this father figure in your life, it just seemed like it was a very seamless transition for you.
yeah. It it helped me. It helped me stay out the street a little bit because I couldn't stay outside for too long anyway. So
Mm.
all of that time I spent in the house, I would just be writing and writing and writing. And right, if you can hear some of that first stuff I was doing, you'd be like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" Even I used to be like, well, I used to think it was cool, but it just but you got to start somewhere, I guess. So
Yeah. Now, I have mentioned this before on the show that I used to do music back then and it didn't pan out. And in real hindsight 2020, I got in it for the wrong reasons. And maybe I should have had other backup plans or other things that were still in the arts, but it ultimately music was not the thing for me. But what I'm getting at here is that I did it. I was working on it for several years, and the person that I was, my style when I first started to when I ended it was completely different. So with that being said, was there a time when you first started it where you were a much different person or had a different kind of style or persona before you settled on the one that you're currently right now?
Um, well, like I said, I started off like battling, so most of my raps were directly, directed towards someone, and that type of style, just basically trying to shit on the next man. But after listening to so many people, I'm like, oh, this is not the only form
Mhm.
of rap out there. I was a big fan of Big Pun. Once Pun came out and went platinum, I was like, oh, this is possible.
Because of the
Especially
Latino factor.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you didn't see a lot of Spanish rappers and successful ones at that.
Yeah.
So once I actually got to see Pun in a Puerto Rican parade once. He was a big fellow. Um,
700 pounds.
he was uh he was a big influence on my music. But I was real sad when he was gone. I think that was probably the only time I cried when
Celebrity.
a musician died. Yeah,
Oh, okay. It had that much of an impact on you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and me getting to see him
Hmm.
at least one time. I felt like,
Yeah.
and
What was interesting about Pun is that a lot of artists, for the most part, they don't reach a legendary status until like maybe somewhere in the middle of their career, or maybe they have a couple of albums in them. But it seemed like with Pun, because he was different and because he was just this unique talent that nobody has ever really seen before, that his legendary status was actually already happening before he passed away.
yeah,
And I think that also, just thinking about that and saying and just hearing it right now, just me saying it, I could understand why it would have an impact on not, people like you that felt exactly the way you did when he unfortunately passed away.
yeah. It was a little rough at first, but it made me go a little harder too, because I was like, I got to be the next one,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
'Cause it,
Yeah, it's
yes.
funny. Yeah, it's funny because with me, when it came to music, when I was doing it, like I said, I was very much into like the Rough Riders, DMX thing. So my shit was like extremely aggressive. Like I could be playing like a party beat, and then here I am just talking about killing people with a chainsaw or some shit or whatever.
While
And then,
people trying to dance and shit.
yeah. And then I later down the line when I finally put the mic down, to coin a phrase, I was actually more just a hard headed guy that was just saw the world a different place. It was kind of like the persona that my people were trying to put me on was uh, like a playboy, but with the voice of a bulldog, if that makes sense. And it just wasn't me. It wasn't me. I had fun, I had my fun and everything, but ultimately it wasn't me, and it didn't feel authentic. And I think that was the final nail in the coffin as to why I stopped doing it.
Well, you're gonna have those times. There's many times I wanted to stop doing it, and there was a few times that I did stop doing it. Um, I only have 3 projects out
Mm-hmm.
the entire time I've been rapping my whole career,
Mm-hmm.
because I had 2 mixtapes, and I recently dropped an album. But it was a lot of times where I kept doubting, like, is this for me or not?
Yeah.
And I guess it's just when you don't get the support or the reaction you're expecting,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of like feel like you're wasting your time. But that's part of making the art. Being in this industry.
For even those times that you felt like quitting, what ultimately led you to keep on going?
Just being around it so much. Like when I moved to Paterson, um, like I started rapping before I moved to Paterson, but
Right, right.
out here was way more people doing music.
It was a culture shock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh shit, out at that time you had Young and the Restless
Mhm.
doing their thing.
I remember Young and Restless. I remember
Th-
Carlito.
there was a few people
Hmm.
out here doing their thing, and I went to John F. Kennedy High School when I moved to Paterson.
Okay.
So it was a lot of people rapping, you would see them in the hallways and stuff. So I kept doing my thing, and I started getting a better reaction from people. Like, oh, yo, you're pretty good, you know. So, you know, I kept doing it. Yeah, I didn't get those type of reactions in Newark, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Newark is a lot rougher. You know,
Right.
nobody, you know, really trying to hear that. You know, a lot of
Well, I mean, at the same token, and this is only what I've heard through the grapevine, is that John F. Kennedy had a reputation of its own. I mean, because I'll tell you right now, I have a cousin who used to live on Emerson, and they don't live there anymore, and their parents did not want them to go to that school because of what they heard. So they did that kind of shit where they had a brother that lived in Hackensack, so they used that address so they can go
address.
to Hackensack High. So, but if it was any of their case, they did everything they could to make sure that they didn't go to that specific high school. That's just what I heard, and I just wanted to know if there was any real truth to that.
Well, it was pretty bad. I mean, it wasn't the worst. You know, I come from Newark, like I said. I
Yeah,
went
yeah,
to Barringer High School. Like if
right.
you know, if you look up Barringer, that's a pretty bad school.
Mm,
West Side, Shabazz. These high schools in Newark are bad.
mm,
And in Barringer, that was the first school I ever seen with a metal detector. You know,
wow.
some kid. It's funny. This story. This kid shoots somebody in the hallway
Mm,
and goes right to class.
wow.
So like the cops and everybody got this whole search party outside and looking for this guy everywhere. He's in school still, right after he shoots this kid.
Mm,
And in the class, I never forget this in the classroom, and the teachers talking about it, like, yeah, they knew him by like a nickname. So they was like such and such shot somebody, and everybody's like giggling and serious faces in the class because he's in the classroom,
yeah.
but the teacher has no idea. So they didn't find that kid until like probably like the next day. But I guess that was smart, you know, to stay in school. But you know, like I said, it was the first school I went to with a metal detector.
Yeah.
When I got to Kennedy, it was a lot of fights. A lot of when I got to Paterson in general, it was kind of like I couldn't believe it how many street gangs there was. You know, like I said, I come from Newark. It's a lot of just the real gangs. You know,
Mm,
Bloods, Crips, Snack. You know, stuff like that.
yeah.
And I got to Paterson, and every fucking street was a gang. You know, Market Street, MSG, Jasper Street. You know, all of these streets were gangs.
Yeah.
So, and you know, and around that time, I got here in 2000. So, you know, 9/11 happened shortly after that. It was a big
Yeah.
riot in school. It was like almost the whole damn school against the Arabics. You know, it was a wild time.
That was, yeah. I did hear about
I
that as
felt
well.
bad for because I had, you know, I had Arabic friends. And they used to tell me, yo, go out the back door. It's not looking good in the front. You know, so try to sneak out of here and go home.
Mm,
It was wild times in there, yeah.
yeah. So you had mentioned earlier that, you know, music was a good way and art in general was a good way to like pretty much keep you off the streets and stay safe and something. But you also alluded to the fact that, you know, it wasn't 100% effective.
Yeah.
So how was it that you were slowly but surely indoctrinated into the street life, and how did it mold you into the person that you are today?
Well, like I said, you know, my mom was a single mother, so it wasn't like we was always getting the stuff we wanted, you know, wasn't getting the video game consoles.
Or the
Like I had,
sneakers and stuff.
yeah, you know, like the stuff that would keep me in house. Like let's say a game console, for example. I didn't get PlayStation 1 till like PlayStation 2 was out.
Mm,
So like we wasn't getting the stuff, so you know, we had to be outside, you know, trying to make the best of your time. Like you didn't want to be home because you had nothing at home, you know. So you enjoyed your time outside, and that's how you ended up, you know, hanging around people and seeing certain things, and you start adapting that lifestyle. And I guess the music helped that a little bit too, because you know you start hearing the things and
yeah.
you seeing the people on TV, and you start wanting those things. So it kind of like you gradually start moving towards that lifestyle. But I think that's everybody's story. If you
Mm,
kind of grew up
that environment, yeah.
in that type of environment, you know, you can almost tell what musicians came from suburbs or like, you know, good households
Sure, yeah.
by you know the subject matter in their songs and stuff. But I try to not keep myself in the box. I try to talk about the struggles and where I came from and all of that. But I like to have substance in my music too. Like um, I know it's not always the popular thing.
Hmm.
You know, everybody wants to dance. Everybody wants, you know, shoot 'em up, bang bang. You know, all of this stuff, the flashy lifestyle. But you know, you gotta have gotta have substance, and that's what I try to do in my songs. Like I got 4 years without drinking alcohol, so I thought how about I make a song about that. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of that song on my
Yeah,
album.
we'll get into that a little bit because I do want to delve into it
Okay.
much later, but but these two mixtapes. I mean, because when did you release these mixtapes, or at least the first one?
Oh man, this had to be like, what's crazy? I don't even remember the exact year, but it had to be like around 2009, maybe before that. It was like the Dat Piff era.
Okay, I
You
remember
can't
that.
even listen to those mixtapes anymore. You can't
No,
find. I actually
it's gone.
have.
Yeah,
I have. I have them in my possession. Like I
sure.
can
Yeah,
re-release them, but it's times where I don't want to really re-release them because it was a different time and
I get that. Yeah,
I was in a different space. So I kind of like, even though it'd be good for people to hear, so they can. Well, a lot of people have seen the growth, but a lot of my newer fans
mm,
haven't been around for that long. So it would be good for them to see. Oh wow, he's way different now. He's way better and he's living a different life. But yeah, even by the titles of the mixtape, you could tell what type of shit I'm on. My first
El
mixtape.
Chapo.
No, that's actually a song I got. But
Okay.
um, my first mixtape was called No Condom.
Okay. All
I was
right.
like, going raw.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
felt
We
like I
got it.
was
We got
raw.
it.
I was raw. Not promoting none, unprotected sex and none of that. But I was just going raw.
This is 2009 Mach. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a long time ago, and my second mixtape was called Pissed Off. These
Okay.
were the stages I was in.
These are pretty self-explanatory projects. Yeah.
Exactly. So at times I would love to re-release them, but I feel like they're better off kept in a tuck. Maybe in a couple years, like a anniversary type of thing, I might re-release it, or do like some type of some special thing when I drop another project that I'll give that away with it, like on a digital platform or something. Give it away to somebody special or a lucky fan, and they'll be the only one in possession of it.
When you listen to those, if you listen to those still, do you kind of like cringe or kind of shocked at how it used to be, or are you still very much proud of those
No,
projects?
I'm still proud of them, and a
Okay.
lot of other people are too. Some people like say a few of my friends are like, "Yo, that song, this one song is their favorite from those mixtapes,"
Mm.
and some people even say, "Oh, your best song was this," and I look at them like a little disrespected sometimes, like,
Mm.
"Are you crazy? I'm way much better now." Like, but you got your right to feel like that's your
Yeah, yeah,
favorite
of
or
course. Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, some people love that old me.
It probably also is kind of like a time capsule where they listen to it and it kind of takes them back to that era. And speaking of that era, what I really wanted to get into as far as like when you release those mixtapes is um around that time when I was also doing music. And I tell this story all the time where we were right on that cusp. Me and my partner at the time, we were right on that cusp of like, when we were reaching the digital era. Everything was all about putting stuff on MySpace and
Yeah,
all these and like SoundCloud and that Piff and all that stuff. But we were still kind of dealing with the earlier ways of doing things of like making a demo, sending them to A&Rs and doing shows and this, that, and the third. And so I guess for you, were you able to adapt to it easily, or did you notice that there was a little bit of a shift on knowing what you knew back then and how you had to transition in this new way that the industry was going
well,
into?
it took me a little while to transition because when I put those projects out, they were very much in CD form.
Yeah.
So I love that era, that hand to hand era, of selling CDs. And I understand, we're in different times now, but the streaming thing is a lot different and a lot harder to be successful financially. Because,
Mm.
you guys do 1 billion streams or get this amount of money. But um I would love to take it back to that era for just that aspect of it, the CDs. And some people still do. When they put out their projects, they'll make a vinyl or a CD or
Yeah,
two.
physical media, I think, is kind of sort of making a comeback
Yeah, and people
because,
like to have something,
yeah,
like piece of like a merch, you know, something
Right, like a piece of history, and also like with everything being technological these days, like I'll give you an example. I know that there's some people that they have bought something, like a movie or something or a series, like on Amazon Prime or whatever, and then for whatever reason, it's no longer on the service, and they just basically waste their money, and they'll never have that again. That's why I know a lot of people in both the music and the movie industry that they still very much believe in physical media because a lot of them believe that there may come a time where we don't have this stuff anymore, and the only way that we could hold on to that is through physical itself.
yeah, it's always good to have that stuff. Like it bugs me out. Some of my friends they have the actual copies of these CDs,
Yeah,
and when I see it, I smile. You know, it reminds me of like how far I came.
that's beautiful.
I don't even have these in possession. You know.
But that I could understand how that's a beautiful feeling to you because this is something that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into, and you know how much it means to you. But to see it actually, your hard work not being in vain and seeing these people still appreciating it after all this time, I could only imagine that's a beautiful feeling. I don't have that experience, but I could certainly sympathize with what that must be like.
Yeah, it feels good, man, touching people and pause, not like that way, but it feels good to get these reactions. I was turned off a lot of times with music.
Mm,
Like I went through industry type of shit before I even got to be in the industry. This
mhm.
is what made me take those dry spells and those times off of music, you know,
Yeah.
dealing with certain people when I was younger and you know the shady business behind it. I was like, oh, this is how it is, and you know, it's probably not for me, you know.
Mm.
You know, you're from the streets when somebody fucking scams you or tries to, you know, do you dirty, you want to retaliate, you want to take it to another level, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. So I would take my breaks just to like, but I would always come back, or I would always have my people, my fans, my friends, like, yo, man, what are you doing? Like, you gotta keep going, you gotta keep doing this, you know. So I just kept doing it, but I was always, you know, on feature projects, you know, always on somebody else's album, somebody else's mixtape, still doing shows here and there, but never putting out my project. Like
Mm.
I had so long that I finally was like, I gotta put out. I can't stop making music without saying I put an album out, because that would just sound crazy to me. So this past year, I was just like, I'm gonna do it.
What would you say was the darkest time in both your professional and your personal life intermittently together throughout your career?
Darkest time? Hmm, it's a good question, man. Um, I think my darkest time had to be about 4 years ago. Um, this was like right after I stopped drinking. I had like a small seizure, and luckily I was getting like on a healthier path already. I already had stopped drinking. I started, you know, taking my health a little more serious, and it kind of was like felt like a withdrawal or something. Like, you know, your body goes into shock after you've been doing something for so long, and then you just stop.
Hmm.
So, you know, I was laying down one day, and thank God my lady happened to be there, and you know, I just went into like this little seizure, and she kind of like, I guess God gave her the power, like she got me out of it,
Mm.
and I like snapped out of it, and I just felt completely normal. It was weird. I felt like completely normal after
It's like
that.
an outer body experience.
Yeah, and I just see her in tears, like, and I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" You know, I'm like, "I didn't know what happened." And she's like, "You really don't know?" Like, she's in tears, crying, and I'm like, "Why are you crying?" She's like, "You just had a seizure or something." Like, you know, I'm trying to explain to me what happened. And I'm like, "I just felt normal."
Mm.
And I'll never forget this. I was about to go to work. She was like, "You're not going to work. I'm taking you ass to the hospital right now." So that was probably my darkest times, is knowing that was you know, you never think something like that happened to you, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You hear about it, you've seen that. I've even seen when I was in elementary school a kid have a seizure in class, but you never think that's gonna happen to you. You know, I was just living a very unhealthy life, you know.
Mm.
thank God I was already I was already taking those right steps. But like I said, my body kind of went into a shock or something like
Mm.
that. So that was probably my darkest time, just seeing my girl's reaction to it and just really processing what had just happened. And I was like, you know what, I gotta take life a little more serious. You start getting older, and it's just a lot harder to stay healthy.
Yeah.
So,
Well, before you even had that seizure, you said that you were already trying to make an effort to make live a healthier lifestyle. You know,
yeah, stop
changing up.
drinking.
Yeah, stop drinking, stop doing this, doing that. Before that, even all that happened, was there like an aha moment where you said, "All right, I got to do something and switch it around," or was it just one of those days where you're like, you know what?
It was just a bunch of things. Like I was out of shape.
Okay.
Um, I was making very poor decisions, very poor decisions. I was like, and it was almost every time I was drinking. So you kind of like you don't want to admit it at times, and you're like, your friends will tell you, yo, man, when you're drunk, you're annoying, or
Mm.
you act up when you're drunk. When you hear it, you're like, man, whatever. But you start realizing that it's the truth, and it takes a lot to realize that you got a problem,
Yeah.
Like they say, the first step is admitting you got a problem. So I just seen a lot of things happening with people around me and my own things, my own fuck ups, and was like, nah, this is what I got to do. I would take 3 months off. It would start off as a break, then I would drink, and some fuck shit would happen.
Mm.
I was like, damn. I would stop drinking again for another 3 months or so, 4 months, and then some wild shit had happened again. And it's just solidified it for that last time. I said, you know what, just it's over for me.
That's
It's
crazy.
so many years. I got since I was 16. Since I Paterson. Once I got to Paterson, that's when I started drinking. Um, and since 16, drinking and smoking and all that, and you just abusing the shit.
Mm.
You're out there just having fun, and partying and stuff, but you're just abusing your body. Your body's just, you know, some people don't make it that far to. Some people don't get the chance to quit on their own,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
or they got to go through something tragic. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say it was tragic, but something bad enough happened to me that I was like, you know what,
It was a
yeah,
big enough wake up call for you to
yeah, it was
make that
definitely a
switch
wake
up.
up call. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm happy I did because I actually influenced a lot of people to follow along with me.
Mm.
A lot of my friends are alcoholics, and it it helped me stay disciplined being around those people.
Mm.
I was still hanging around with the same people who were drinking damn near every day, every weekend.
Yeah.
And some of them still forget to this day. They'll be hanging out and they'll be pouring up a cup and they'll go to pass you. Oh, no, you don't drink no more.
Yeah.
Because you for so many years you did, and you were so used to it that they still can't fathom that you stopped. But a lot of people, not just my friends, just people in general, this generation are into being healthier.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like the fit generation.
I actually saw something on the internet yesterday where right now, in the moment that we're living in, that alcohol is being less consumed
Yep.
by, in general, like a lot less people are drinking alcohol these
I
days.
was just talking about this too with somebody else
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week.
So it is a real thing. And I think that it's also a nice way to see how much, as a society, we kind of progressed, because it's now cool to actually, be proud of somebody that's, taking care of themselves and their health and wanted to be better and everything. Whereas I kind of grew up, and in the same token, you kind of grew up where, like, I've been around people where, like, if I didn't want to smoke or drink or anything, they'd be like, "Oh man, you a sucker, man, if you don't want to do
Yeah.
this shit."
Hmm.
So it's nice to see that kind of shift over, and yeah, just gotta take care of your health in general, people. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to. You only get one life.
Yeah.
Live it to the fullest, but also do it safely.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of kids, a lot of guys younger than me from my area, fall victim to the alcohol, the drugs, a lot of overdoses. These kids are young, man.
Yeah.
Like I said in a couple songs, like I got homies who ain't C25.
Jesus.
And that sounds crazy to me, like, because, they out here, they got fake pills now. It's all types of
Fentanyl.
shit.
Yeah.
it's not the same era. Before, we used to be able to smoke some garbage ass weed and everybody was high and enjoyed it. Now, you need the shit that fucking makes you feel like a dope head to say like you smoke some good shit, and that's crazy.
G14 classified or something.
It's crazy. Like, you know, the kids now, if they don't feel like they're fucking doped up, then the weed's not good for them, you know? And that's crazy.
During that time when you were doing all these things and not taking care of your body, was it because it was the thing to do? It was like status quo. It was what you were surrounded by, or was it also another element where you were just trying to bury some real demons and pain that you were not able to?
It helped.
Yeah.
It helped. And like I said, I took on all of that stuff when I moved to Paterson. Drinking and smoking. Obviously, I smoked when I was in Newark. I indulged, like I tried it. But smoking every day, drinking every weekend, that started when I moved to Paterson because it was just the crowd I was in. And it was fun, and it felt like, you know, cool or whatever. But you know, when you look back at all that stuff, you just you cringe. You're like, wow, I really thought that was cool. Like, and you know, you start analyzing everything from like the money you spent to like the decisions you made, the people you lost, just how people conceive you, like, you know, your image. And I'm happy I don't do it. I got a few months now. I don't even smoke. Like, I'm like completely sober now.
Nice.
Sometimes I have my days where I'm like, you know, you lose friends when you stop doing that type of stuff. You know?
Yeah.
You get a lot less phone calls. Like, you know, your phone gets real dry. You're suddenly not cool enough. You know.
Yeah.
You don't get invited places and stuff like that because you're not indulging in the same things. But it's a gift and a curse, I guess.
Yeah. Well, whether it's a gift or a curse, I think it's certainly a gift in the sense that you turn it into your art form, which we can now get into when it comes to the project that you recently released, since '85. So it's available now on streaming platforms, but I want to focus really on three main tracks because I think those are the ones that hit hardest the most for me, and ultimately it got you to see here on the show anyway. But first and foremost, Wildfire. First and foremost, I gotta know, where the fuck did that aggression come from, man? Because that's one of the things that I remember from Irv Gotti. Whenever he worked on a DMX album or a Ja Rule album, he always believed that the intro, the first song that's being played on the album, should be the most impactful because that's going to set the tone for the rest of the project. And with Wildfire, the intro on Since '85, I just feel like you went off. Like, it was a hell of a. It was my first experience with your music because I didn't get a chance to, you know, catch your mixtapes back then, unfortunately. But what an introduction! Where did that Wildfire, to coin a phrase, really come from?
I just feel like that aggression's always inside of me. It just takes a little spark for it to come out. Usually I try to keep it tucked unless I'm doing music, but it kind of trickles out to life sometimes. But I wrote that around the time of the wildfires in Canada.
Oh wow, okay.
And it just, you know, it was a perfect time type of thing. That's how that came about.
That was the inspiration for it. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, the wildfires going on, and like you said, the aggression, and people was like, yo, you know, that's a term too in the streets. People like, yo, that was wildfire right there, you know. So it all made sense. So I was like, you know what, I'm using this as my intro, and I used some news audio for it. It just went perfect with it. I actually wanted to perform that this past weekend, but I felt like, because I just did a performance for Puerto Rican Festival.
I saw that, yeah.
Saturday. The Fire Association was the ones who put it together. So I was like, I should perform this. And then I started saying, you know what, it's going to be a lot of Spanish people. They probably don't want to hear that type of aggression.
Yeah.
So I kind of kept that tucked. But yeah, that's where the Wildfire, the whole theme and aggression, you know, like I said, I always got that aggression in me.
Yeah.
It's scary. I scare people sometimes, but I'm a friendly guy, man.
Now, tell me about Impossible.
Impossible was produced by my guy Frankie Bad Lungs. Shout out to Bad Lungs. I've known him for many years. He's an artist. He just started producing like the last couple years, making beats, and he's like super dope at making beats now. Um, with the hook, the hook with the sample of the hook, it put me in that realm, and I was like, you know, nothing's impossible. So I just went once I heard the word impossible, I just said, you know what? Because some people, when you have a sample on a song, sometimes they don't even the they don't even make the song based off the sample or what they hear. They might go a whole different route. Like somebody else might have used that same beat with impossible sample on it, and it would have had nothing to do with, you know, achieving your dreams and going out for it and stuff and that type of vibe. That's just kind of the route I took with that song. Like, um, just trying to speak to the youth, and not even just the youth, just it's just people in general that, nothing's impossible. Get that out of your head already. I think we've had many examples of uh nothing's impossible. Like you see people, and you're like, wow, I can't believe they did that,
Yeah.
or I can't believe someone close to you. Like, damn, I just saw this guy doing this, and now he's there. But I've had many examples of that. Like, you come up around these certain people and now they're stars. Like I know a lot of people who are in better positions than me in the industry as well. And I just feel like nothing's impossible. You just gotta have the drive.
Right.
And you gotta just keep going. Like I said, in this game, you can't afford to stop.
Right.
I think I stopped too many times and that might have hurt me a little, but I'm still out here doing it, and not for the fame, not for it's just for whoever. It's for me. At the same time, it's for whoever I can help, because I'm at that point now where I'm trying to help people, and that's what that song does. It helps people realize that.
Yeah. Since 85, baby.
Since
Now, and then my personal favorite, and this is where I think that I learned to respect you as a craftsman and as a wordsmith, is Miss Martin. And this is going back to what you were talking about when you wrote the song about leaving behind essentially your love of the life, the love of your life at the time, which was alcohol. And I just love how you were able to paint a picture of like what it's like to be in this environment and being so addicted, for lack of a better term, to something that is not very good for your health, but you're so caught up in the moment. Like it's the typical phrase where like, how could something bad for me feel so good? And that's the sense that I got for it. And that's where I learned to respect you as a wordsmith and as a storyteller, because I think that, especially in this day and age in music, specifically hip hop, that's kind of a little bit of a lost art. And you keeping that essence, along with just phenomenal storytelling, is all I needed to hear to give the stamp of approval for 85, since 85.
Thank you, man. Actually, somebody else had gave me that idea, like, yo, you should write about it, And
Yeah.
at first, I didn't think it was a corny idea. I just felt like, oh, maybe it's too early for that, Maybe somewhere down the line I can do that. But I just did it, and thank God I did, man, because that song not only helps me,
Mm-hmm.
it keeps me on track, and it reminds me of the stupid shit I was doing, and it just, like I said, it helps so many people who are dealing with that problem. Like I said, I got so many friends who are still, alcoholics.
I have a cousin that is still like that, unfortunately. Like kind of the way you were describing in the song, it was relatable in the sense to me, because this is not me per se that's going through it, but I'm seeing through my own family member how it's affecting them as well.
A lot of people, they hear that song and they still don't know I'm talking about alcohol.
Mm.
They think I'm talking about a girl, because that's kind of how I wrote it
Yeah, yeah.
to people think it was a girl, but I'm really talking about alcohol. And I even named it Miss Martin because my drink of
Remy,
choice
yeah.
was Remy Martin.
Yeah.
So, and then it was Miss Martin, like I miss.
Yeah, and that's definitely some Paterson shit. That 1738 shit. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I never forget the first time I performed that song.
Mm.
I was at a plug and play event in I think it was Jersey City or somewhere down there. I performed it, and I remember I gave everybody the heads up. because everybody was drinking
Right.
and everybody was in on a party vibe. And I let everybody know. I said, hey, man, introduce myself. And I told everybody, I'm not trying to mess nobody's vibe up, but this song is about me leaving alcohol. And that got everybody's attention quick. So once I did it, I just saw everybody's face like, wow, that was crazy. Like, it hit so many people. I had a guy come up to me right after that, whip the cup. He said, bro, I just wanted to throw the shit on the floor when I heard that. And I was like, I'm glad that I did that to you. I'm not saying, hey, I'm not here to tell you to stop drinking or nothing. That was my experience. But I'm glad it made you feel some type of way. You feel me?
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I'm getting a sense of while I'm talking to you here is you mentioned a couple of times already that you've had people that have come up to you and they've felt, you know, your music really touched them, you know, and it affected them in a positive way, and it's great to hear that. But there's also a sense of humbleness to you where you don't necessarily let that get through your head. You're not thinking you're some kind of like I'm the shit type of complex. You take it, you appreciate it, but it's almost like you take it with a grain of salt, and you know you take it for what it is, and you just keep on that same humble persona that you are displaying right now, which is actually pretty respectable and admirable as well.
I think that's it's hurt me a little bit too, being that way. Because a lot of people, like, you need to talk your shit. You need to act like you're that guy. Like, you don't do it enough. And even though I feel like that, and that's how the whole Since 85 title came up. I was having a debate with somebody, and I'm like, I've been that guy. Since when? Since 85, bro. Since I was fucking born. I've been that guy. So, I'm humble, and like I said, maybe that's hurt me sometimes. I be a little too humble. I've met a lot of people my whole time rapping, and I've never told anybody, any artist that I've met, I have never told them I did music. Some people, they're tired of everybody trying to pass them at the time, passing them CDs or telling them, yo, hear me out, listen to me rap. I rap, I do music. They have thousands of people doing this to them every day. So I kind of like, I always had this approach where every time I met somebody, even though I took pictures with them, told them I was a fan of them or whatever, never told them I did music, I always felt in my head like, one day this guy's going to see me. And when he sees me again, he's like, why the hell you didn't tell me you did music? Like, we could have been worked or this and that, I always felt that way. Like, they're going to see me one day and be like, wow, you should have told me you did music. I think that hurt me a lot too, because, I should have been trying to network a little more with people, but I guess that's just the type I am. I'm to myself a lot, especially now that I'm sober. I think it's better that way.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Now, I'm a person that we're going to get a little personal here, and I'm a person that likes to get deep and personal on my show, including with myself, and I'm going to get real with you and the audience. So, when I first met you, I got a chance to meet you and your girl, and needless to say, I wasn't necessarily getting a good vibe from you, honestly, and long story short, after hearing I didn't know you all that well, and I like to think that I'm pretty good with vibes at first, and I just thought that you looked at me like I was like some sucker dude or whatever. I don't know. There was just the demeanor, and I could be wrong. You really can't judge a book by its cover. And then, but like I didn't want to rock the boat. And this, down the third. And then afterwards, I started hearing from people that we know mutually of like you being a fan of my show and everything that I'm doing, and some of the people that I work with that you know mutually, this, down the third. And then I'm hearing through the grapevine how you're interested in, possibly meeting up with me and doing all this. And I'm thinking, well, that's all fine and dandy, but I want to hear from the guy himself. I mean, I'm hearing through the grapevine, but I want to know if this is legit. And if it's legit, then definitely we could talk about it. And I'm saying that to say all this to say, basically, I apologize for judging a book by its cover.
No need to apologize. I said that earlier. I come off that way somehow. Like, people just look at me like I'm not an approachable person, or I might feel some type of way. And like you said, we didn't even know each other, and people feel like that,
But also at the same time, I used to be like that times 10, like in my 20s. And like everything is hindsight 2020, and I could see how people could look at me or construe me that kind of way, and me kind of looking like I'm doing what they used to do. It wasn't a good feeling. So I needed to be a little bit more open minded and understand that, listen, you can't judge a book by its cover. Maybe this is just a person how he's wired, but the fact of the matter is, he respects and appreciates you for what you're doing, and I gotta show that same energy. I gotta show that same respect. And dude,
Yeah, I'm a fan, bro.
and dude, I'm so fucking glad I did, because especially after getting the chance to talk with you and listening to your projects, I gotta say, Mach City's the fucking guy. So
Appreciate it.
yeah. So I just all say that I apologize, but I fuck with you. You're a good dude, and I would suggest that everybody support everything that you're doing, because I think that you're doing great things with your music, with the products, and don't be afraid to just be outspoken, bro. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're just making a good impact on people's lives, and it's maybe you should show that that same grace to yourself as well.
Yeah, I've heard that too, man. I gotta give myself a little grace, man. Like I said, man, I'm a fan, man. It's been times where I'll be just home. You know, I get home before my girlfriend, so
Hmm.
sometimes she'll come home, and like yesterday, came home, catch me watching Rock Davis interview.
Yeah, shout out to Rock Davis.
Shout out to Rock Davis. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like, I've watched all of them because I know you got like 100.
Yeah, I'm almost at 200.
But
This is episode 191.
but I've seen a lot of episodes, man. I've seen a lot of episodes, and I'm a fan of what you're doing. I've always been a fan of what Marv does, and
Yeah.
I'm a fan of this whole space. So, you know, I try to make it to all the events here when I can. And,
Yep. That is true. Like, anytime there's been something that's going on here, you have been present. So.
Yeah, and even if it's not me performing or me promoting something, I'll just show up. You know?
Yeah, of course.
Like I said, me and Marv go way back. So I love what you're doing. I love what Marv's doing, and it's a great space for people to just, you know, do what they got to do. Like, you know, it keeps a lot of people from doing the negative things. You know.
Yeah.
And as long as you guys keep doing this, you'll have more people like me coming up here and sharing their stories, and you'll be able to reach more people, you know?
Yeah. Well, dude, I respect the fuck out of you, man. I really appreciate this. And I'm actually glad we did this, man. Like, I got a good feeling before you came on, and I'm definitely glad that we did this
Me
episode.
too, because you know, I can't tell you how many countless people probably feel the same way still about me and will never tell me, you know?
Believe it or not, I think that's one of the things that maybe you and I have in common. Like, I think that we still kind of fight a little bit of an imposter syndrome. Like sometimes we feel like we shouldn't be doing what we're doing, but you know, we still kind of appreciate that we're having an impact on people's lives, and you know, we just have to it's just we're stuck in our own way sometimes, you know. But I think that just goes to show that, hey, maybe other people that are like-minded will watch this and see that it is possible.
Yeah, I got a lot of ideas, man, and I'm just a lot more focused now, and making those things happen. You know, like with the Miss Martin thing. Now,
Yeah.
now I had an idea. Like, you know, I'm gonna go start this thing where I go to these AA meetings, start talking to people about my story with sobriety, and you know, letting them hear the song, letting them see the video, letting, you know, things like that. I feel like I can reach a lot of people in that realm, and help a lot more people. Not trying to be the poster child for sobriety,
Yeah,
but
of course.
whoever I can help, then it'll make me feel a lot better too.
Ladies and gentlemen, since 85, baby, since 85. It's now available on all streaming platforms. Make sure you check out that project. It is fire. Starting off with Wildfire.
Wow.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're about to close out this episode soon, but now it is time for everybody's favorite segment. It is now time for This or That. If you've never seen the show before, what happens is I will ask my guests here multiple choice questions. There's no right or wrong answers, just what you like best, and it's a good opportunity for people to know you a little bit more and to end things on a positive note. All right, so are you ready, Moxie?
It's one of my favorite parts.
I appreciate that. Are you ready, Marv? All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, for This or That, you, Mr. Mach. Playlist or podcast?
Definitely podcast.
Okay.
I don't even think I listened to any playlist ever.
Okay. Slides or Crocs?
I own both,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have to say slides.
Okay. Very Puerto Rican of you. Beach or pool?
Definitely the beach.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
I'm a dog guy, man.
Yeah, me
Definitely
too.
a dog guy. I had one dog, and when he died, I don't think I'm ready to get another one
Mm,
yet, but I'm definitely a dog.
yeah, me too. Shout out to Monty. Early bird or night owl?
Definitely an early bird. My girl hates that I get up so early. Even when I'm not working, even when I don't have nowhere to be, I'm up early. She hates that shit.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Okay. To give or to receive?
I would say to give. I'm a giver,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels good to receive sometimes. Man, I'm kind of
Yeah.
50-50 on it, but I like to give.
Yeah, I just don't receive enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Uh,
saying.
are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Extrovert. I definitely need to be around people and stuff.
Got you.
Like being alone all the time is not the best thing for me. It's best. It's good for you sometimes, but I'm definitely an extrovert.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful that you got great people surrounded around you. So, Batman or Superman?
I'm a fan of both, man, but I gotta go with Batman because he don't got no superpowers and he's just badass, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Superman, he's got a lot of advantages, man, but
Mm.
Batman's he's a fucking human, man.
Yeah. Iron Man or Captain America?
Oh man, Iron Man, man. Tony Stark is the man, the
Yeah, for
philanthropist.
sure. Are you glass half empty or glass half full?
Wow. I think everybody else, if they can answer this for me, they would say I'm a glass half empty.
Okay. Would you rather be embarrassed or be afraid?
Oh, I'd rather be afraid.
Okay.
I even though I've rarely ever been embarrassed, but I'd rather be afraid because being afraid is not the end of the world. You can always get past that.
Hey,
Being embarrassed, depending on what it is,
mm-hmm.
might stick with you forever.
Wow. Eloquently put. Would you rather be too hot or be too cold?
Too cold. I'm not a fan of. I'm a fall guy. I like the fall. I like
Oh, me
hoodie
too.
hoodie season. You could have the fucking 90-degree weather. Like if you're not by the water, then why would you want it to be this hot?
Big facts. Big fucking
Definitely, I'd
facts.
rather be much cold.
Would you rather do dishes or laundry?
Laundry. I just did laundry yesterday.
Do you prefer the window seat or the aisle seat?
To go back on that, I do the dishes as well. Like my girl
Yeah.
cooks, I gotta do the dishes. But I much rather do laundry. Like I'm not big on the cleaning.
Yeah.
I'd rather do laundry. Sorry, what was the next one?
It's okay. Um, are you more book smart or street smart?
I would say street smart because I spend more time in the streets, but I'm pretty book smart too. I would say I'm a smart guy. I graduated high school. I
Hmm.
graduated computer school after that. Maybe
Okay.
I should have dabbled more in computers because
Yeah.
it's a lot of money in the computer world right now. But
Big facts. Yeah.
I would say I'm both.
Okay. Do you prefer the window seat or the aisle seat?
Oh man, right now the window seat. After I done been on a few plane trips, with my first ride, I didn't want to be by the window.
Okay. All right. Do you prefer reading or writing?
Definitely writing. I'm a writer. I'm an
Would you
artist.
would you rather speak every language or play every instrument?
Speak every language. I
Okay.
think that'll open more doors for you in life than just playing instruments.
Okay. And spoken from a musician.
Yeah,
Cardio or weights?
cardio. I'm a cardio guy. I love to run. I love calisthenics. I'm barely ever lifting weights.
Okay. Dancing or karaoke?
Karaoke. I'm an artist. I can I can dance a little, but I'm much better at singing.
Are you more into drama or comedy?
Definitely comedy. I don't think anybody's more into drama.
You'd be surprised. Movie theater or streaming service?
Oh, well, I would say streaming service because that's a once a month.
Mm.
You pay once a month and you can see as much as you want. At the movie theater, you got to pay every time you're there.
I didn't think of it that way, but at the same time, you probably feel safer in your house anyway.
That too. I mean, I love the experience, the sound and the big screen,
Yeah.
but I would say streaming service.
Ice water or room temperature?
As of late, the past year, I've been drinking a lot of room temperature water.
Okay. And then finally, teamwork or solo project?
Oh man, I roll solo a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I would rather teamwork. I would say I have a 4-man team. My cameraman, J4 Flicks. Shout outs to J4 Flicks. He's more than just my cameraman, my brother, my therapist sometimes. My lady, shout outs to Lori Love, and my brother Blas Santin. I have a 4-man team, and I would like to say we make a lot happen with just us 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, teamwork makes the dream work. That is going to do it for this segment of This or That, and that is going to do it for this episode of First Class Second Place. Thank you to my great guest, Mach City, for coming through, man. Really appreciate this. Yeah. You kind of gave some shout-outs already, but is there anybody else you want to give a shout-out to before we close out?
Shout outs to everybody who's been rocking with me forever, and shout outs to the people who stuck around. And I appreciate everybody. Like I said, go get Since 85 on all streaming platforms now. Follow me on Instagram. The city is Mach. I got a new project coming out next month as well. No Love for the City. Just trying to stay active, man. And like I said, if you've been rocking with me for however long, if you're a new fan or if you've been a fan for years, I appreciate it. All love and support does not go unnoticed. I would like to say I keep receipts. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but I keep receipts. It does not go unnoticed, the support, man. I really appreciate it. Keeps me going. Like I always scream, don't forget the city, because I know what it's like to be forgotten, and I never want to feel like that again. So keep supporting the guy.
All right. The new album, ladies and gentlemen, Since 85, all available on all streaming platforms, all the way from New Jersey. You also got shout out to F in the Empire,
Yes,
and
sir.
also Flavors Beverages. And this is actually a pretty dope flavor. I like this
Shout
one.
out to Kenny, man, my guy in Philly. Kenny, I love you, kid.
All right. Mach, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube at Jason Enrique and all those streaming platforms. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. This has been the First Class Second Place podcast. We out.